Hello, Jill Tisbury, welcome to another FiredGlass video. Lovely and warm outside, so we're getting all summery and we're going to create a flower holder. So I don't know if you've seen these before, but these are quite lovely. If you want, you can have them outside, you can have them inside, it's up to you. But they are designed to hold flowers. I haven't got any flowers. I should have got some, shouldn't I? But you can see what I mean. Maybe you just want to put a bunch of paintbrushes in there, who knows. Anyway, this is what we're making today. So it needs to have a pocket inside, so you can see in there. I'll do it for the other camera. You probably have a look there. You need to have some sort of pocket inside, and you need to be able to seal it all around the edges. So just around here, it wants to be able to slump down. I'll show you how we do that in a minute, over some fibre paper that we're actually going to use for that. And you need to be able to make sure that it seals around the edges. And that's what gives you your pocket. I'm going to drill a hole in this one. I'm actually going to drill 2 holes in this one and put some wire in so that it can hang up. You could, if you really want to have it indoors, you could use a little sort of piece on the back like that and stand it up, so you can actually have it standing if you want to as well. This would need to be glued on, so you would grind the edge of that just to give it a bit of a key, and then use some epoxy resin glue and stick that on the back of that. But most people drill a hole, or you could glue a bail on the back of it, or 2 bails, and then thread some string or something. But they're quite lovely, and they're nice to give away as gifts as well. So that's what we're making today. So how do we go about that? Okay, let's move that out of the way for a minute. I'm going to shift that over there, and I'm going to come back to my bits of glass that I've got here. So I've already cut these, because I'm sure you've cut glass 100 times before, but I wanted to show you where it started from. So we started with 2 oblongs of glass, and then I cut this one first. Let's just move that to the side. This one is going to be the back panel. Actually, get that back and I'll show you. So you need a back panel here, and you can see that's going to be this one here. You can also see how it's fused as well when you turn it around. So what you need to do is decide on the size that you're going to make, and I just, well, I measured in actually 1.5 centimetres from either side, and then from there to the top corner of that oblong I drew a line and cut those 2 pieces off. Now, don't get rid of these 2 pieces, because a lot of people will do that and then say, oh, it's scrap glass, what should I do with it? But if you start to put these together, somewhere here I have another little bit of glass, and we put that on there. Woohoo! We've got a Christmas tree, so we can start to decorate that as a Christmas tree. So don't get rid of these pieces, because you can use them to make your Christmas trees. And if you like and subscribe, then you won't miss one of our future videos, which we're actually filming today, but it's going to be Christmas trees and how to make them. So don't get rid of them, put them to one side. Put them to one side with some brown glass for a trunk, and you've got Christmas trees. So let's get rid of those. Okay, so this piece was the back piece then that we talked about. It's this piece here, and you can see I've rounded the edges just to make it look nice. You don't have to round the edges, they obviously are going to round off in the kiln anyway, but I just like this sort of rounded shape. So that's my back piece. We're not going to do anything with that other than fuse it. This piece is going to be the top piece, and you can see it's ever so slightly bigger. You can do it the same size in terms of the width, but it's shorter because you obviously need to have this piece here. You could actually do a shape on here if you want, but you need this piece here so that you can drill into it and put the holes in to hang it. So those are my 2 pieces that I'm going to use. I'll put this to one side for now, and we're ready to go. So this is the one I'm going to do the design on. I'll put that to one side for a minute. So I've got my 2 kiln props here, which help me out, because I'm going to put this on here, and I'm probably going to be, well, I am going to be using some frit on there. So I want to be able to put that back in the pot when I've finished with it. I've got some stringers and I got some glue. So this is glass tack glue. You can get that from Warm Glass or wherever your supplier is. I'm just going to put a little bit of this on here, not too much. Let's get rid of some of that up there. Mainly because I want, I'm going to put this in the kiln a little bit later, so I want to make sure it holds in place while I'm moving it around the studio. So I'm going to do a bit of a floral design on here. I've got some nice long pieces. We're going to use some beads and we're going to use some marini. And you can do whatever you like, really. Tack fuse it, full fuse it, entirely up to you as to what you do with this piece. There we go. Let's just shove that under there. That's quite nice. Okay, so I've got some stringers on there. I'm going to use, you can use frit. This is just scrap glass that I have pulled out of the bottom of my stringer box, really. So it's a mixture of fine frit and medium frit size-wise. All this is all the confetti glass that we use and the stringers that have all crushed up at the bottom, and instead of throwing that away, you want to have this as a sort of green meadow mix to actually use to do the background. So there we go. Just going to pop this on here for a sec. Get rid of these. So this is why we work on a piece of paper. You can pop that all back in there, and then we are ready to go with the next bit. So let's put that on there. We'll do a bit of a design on here. So this is quite quick. I think I've got some beads here, so I think I'll use beads. Let me just tidy up as we go along. Oh. So I use a paintbrush. I don't know where my paintbrush has gone, but this is a bit of a big old paintbrush. It's always tempting to do this with your hand and to actually scoop things away. And if you've ever had a glass splinter, which I'm sure you have, it's not what you want, is it? So try not to do that, however tempting it is, and use a paintbrush to get rid of those. Okay, let's put this away. These are great, these wardrobes. They're actually from a place called Storage for Crafts, and they come with all these boxes, actually. Well, you can order them with the boxes, but everything's in its place then. It's fab. So I think we will have some weird... This is great, the fact that you can do this. We can get into a fantasy world if you want to, but we'll have some weird old long bead flowers going up here. So I put a little bit of glue on there. I've got loads of beads here. I've got so many bead boxes. I'm now over 2 bead boxes. Who knows? What should I choose? Should we have some blue? What do you think? Cameraman thinks we should have blue. So let's go with some blue. There we go. So these, if you, again, back to scrap glass, really. If you have lots of bits of scrap glass, these are my kimchi pots. They're brilliant for keeping things in. But this, when I've chopped things up to make marini or to make other things, or if I've broken something like this, this used to be something, I don't know what it was, but you can see tiny, tiny little bits and pieces of frit on there. So it obviously used to be something that I've broken. I just chop it up and put it in here. And the next time I do a full fuse, any spaces in my kiln get filled with this stuff. and they come out as beads. If you want to know how to do that, again, if you like and subscribe, you can have a look at all of the videos on our channel, and there's one that's probably one of the most popular videos that we have, which is about how to make beads. So it just shows you how to fill up your kiln and make beads. But you can see I've got tons of them, and my students use them all the time. And so we've always got a good old turnover of beads. Okay, so I think we're going to use some of these. These are gorgeous colours, typical. So you want them to sit on their flat side. Usually there's going to be a flat bit. Let's pick that up. You can probably see that. If you put it on here like that, sometimes they can roll off, whereas if you put them flat on there, it's usually easier to pick up your beads by hand, isn't it? There we go. So I guess this would be a bit like a Christmas tree, isn't it? You want the smaller bits at the bottom, at the top, bigger bits at the bottom. Slippery little thing. Let's get some more of these out. Move this in a minute. If you can hear people chatting, our studio is at the back of our garden, and we've got the window open at the moment. It's an absolutely gorgeous day outside, and behind our studio is a hedgerow, and beyond the hedgerow is bridle path, and people have got no idea that I can hear every word they say. So when they're swearing at the dog for rolling in the mud when it's raining, I can hear every word of it in the studio. I've got no idea that they're being listened to. It's quite funny. Okay, that looks cool. Maybe I had another one, didn't I? Let's do a lighter one, lighter colour. Oh. Nearly. That doesn't want to be anywhere near, does it? Let's do something like this. You can get lost in these because you can just do, you know, anything when it's abstract like this. Let's get some smaller beads. Oh, these are beautiful colours. I love these dual sort of colours. Maybe that's a little one. Just coming up there. Fabulous. Actually, I'm going to move him to here. Okay, fab. So let's just put these back. My friend comes and sorts my beads out, and she goes nuts when they're all in the wrong place. So we just put a few in the wrong place just to keep her on her toes, that way. There we go. Okay, so let's put these to one side. Maybe I've got some Marini that we will put in here. Sound like Bob Ross now, don't I? Maybe we've got some little little critters. We could put little critters in there. I've got some critters. Okay, I don't really need any glue here because this is going to sit on top of frit. So you can just play about with this and have fun with it because, you know, there's no right or wrong. Do what you want, really. But these colours go lovely together because you've got the orange, which is the opposite of the blues on here. You notice, for the most part, with the design that we're using here, I'm keeping it mainly to the centre of this, not really on the edges. I know we've got this stuff on the edges and that needs to be on the edges, but this is actually going to slump. I'm going to show you that when I've done this in a second. This is going to slump over to connect, as we mentioned earlier on. This is quite nice. Quite like the contrast to the colours there. So the orange is the opposite of the blue on the colour wheel, so it's going to really make this pop. And again, you don't have to put these on the end of, oops, on the end of stalks, you just put them where you want. Okay, I think that's cool. And maybe a few of our candy apple, all of our Marini you can find in our shop. So if you have a look online, if you need any of that, it's online in there, along with stringers and confetti glass and all sorts of goodies. Let's put a few of these on here. Fabulous. And look at these. Oh, it's a ladybird. Little critters. Okay, so ladybird's going in there, and then just here, things look better in odd numbers. So 3 or 5, I'm going to go with 3 bumblebees. Actually, I'm going to put them there. So let's have a big old chap. Bumblebee there, and another big old chap. He's going that way, and maybe a smaller one. He's going that way. There we go. So those are Bumblebee Marini. And what you then need to make this extra special is this is from Warm Glass. These are dichroic flakes. So I'll show you those. They look like a pot full of diamonds. So these are medium-sized dichroic flakes, and they look like this. Look at that. It's like I've done some sort of diamond heist, isn't it? Okay, let's get those. And you want one either side. Oops. Get a little bit of glue. Oh, this is fiddly. Let's see if I can make sure I've got no glue on my... Some fairly big ones if you can find them. So these look gorgeous when the light catches them. A bit like real bee wings, I suppose. So you want one either side. So they are expensive things, dichroic crystals, but you know, they look really lovely. There we are. One either side of this one. Oops, maybe there's a couple either side of this one because they're tiny and he's a big bloke. There we go. Whew. So he's got some nice sparkly wings. Put that back in there. Oh, found another bead there. Where's he going to go? Let's shove him up there. He's a bit too big. There we are. What am I looking for? Oh, meadow mix. I've obviously put that away. Let's find some meadow mix. So if you've seen any of our other videos, you'll know that this is my stuff that I tidy up when people have been in the studio and they've forgotten to put all their frit away. See, I'm really in the zone now because I'm finding difficulty talking. Okay, so we've done that. But oh, there's a little bit of frit that's fallen off. Let's just put that back. I've got another bead that I've found. It can go in there. I know it's tiny, but don't waste anything, do we? Right, okay. So there we are. We've now got a lovely design on the front of our pot, but how do we make that into a pot? Well, for this, we need to fuse it. So your choice as to whether you want to full fuse it or tack fuse it. Because these are beads, I'm going to tack fuse this because the beads would sort of melt out into big blobs, and I want to keep some of the structure there. I quite like that, so I'm going to tack fuse this, and I like this structure on here as well. But you now need to somehow get that attached to that and actually looking like that. So I'm going to use some fibre paper, and we would then need to put something here to stop it from fusing fully together, and that's where this comes in. This is fibre paper. So again, in this country we get that from, well, I get mine from Warm Glass. Wherever you find fibre paper, wherever your glass supplier is, this is what you need. You can get it in rolls. I find this useful. So if you look in there, you can see there's lots of different thicknesses of this. And so depending on what I'm doing, sometimes with my wildlife work, if I'm doing different layers, I need to support one of the layers. So I'll support it on some fibre paper. But you can get rolls of fibre paper from your glass suppliers. So that's what I've done here. I cut out a piece that was the size of this, and then I trimmed it slightly. So that's going to sit on there. This is going to sit somewhere in the middle of that. And then these two, a bit like the Christmas tree really, these were edges from that. So they're going to sit on here. Got them the wrong way around. I've slightly chamfered the edges. I don't know if you can see that. Do it on the brown. You can probably see that I've just chamfered off the edges to make them sort of rounded over. So they're going to sit on here, like that. But basically, that sits on here, and once it's fused, it's going to look like this. So this is my fibre paper inside of here. It needs to be pulled out and cleaned out, which is quite straightforward, but I'm sure you don't want to watch me do that. Basically, you can rake this out of here, so you can pull it off, and then if you get that in water, and if you've got a brush, something like this, which is what I use to get in there, you can scrub that and pull that off, and then you've got your flower vase. So we'll stick that in the kiln and then see what that looks like when it comes out.